What is rolling shutter, and why does it make your footage look weird? I've heard at least one person on YouTube talk about how it gives like a jello effect, where like if you're moving your camera quickly side to side, it might make any straight objects kind of go like this if it has a really bad rolling shutter in your camera, excuse me. Because rolling shutter, as far as I understand, how this works is that, especially on like older camera sensors that have a rolling shutter, how it works is that it reads out the camera sensor line by line. So if it has a slower processing speed or read speed or whatever the name is for the speed of the sensor, then if it's slower and you're doing really quick whipping and panning motion, then it doesn't read out fast enough to read out the whole sensor quick enough to have the objects move more naturally. So there's this other thing called a global shutter, which, as far as I understand, it reads out the whole sensor at once. It doesn't go line by line. It's like the whole sensor all at once. I think probably a good amount of proper cinema cameras have a global shutter. So then when you do, like when you're doing this motion and stuff, it looks more natural because it's less likely to have that weird jello effect or whatever. And like when you're, say, in a car and you're driving really fast, like, you know, the telephone poles are less likely to look like that when you have the camera out the window. Well, actually, they're not going to look like that if you have a global shutter, because it's reading the sensor all at once, right? Whereas if you have an older sensor that doesn't have as good of a read speed, a worse rolling shutter, then it's going to be more like that kind of thing when it's supposed to look more like that. So again, with more high-end modern sensors, the rolling shutter is less noticeable because it's just like a better read speed or whatever the word's called. So again, if you're getting into older cameras, older sensors that have rolling shutters, you're gonna maybe want to avoid those quick whipping and panning movements. Try to stabilize the shot more, things like that. I think that there's a test you could do where if you have like one of those electric blade fans, I think it will look funny if the rolling shutter is bad. So depending on how you use the camera, there might be ways where you could use it where the rolling shutter, if it is bad, is less noticeable. Like if you're just doing something like this, like what I'm doing right now, if I have a bad rolling shutter, as long as I'm not doing anything crazy, it's probably going to look fairly okay, because there's not a whole lot of motion and things going on here. So it's worth keeping in mind if it matters for what you're doing, because if you notice it and it looks weird, then maybe it's worth looking at either a different filming style or looking at a different camera that either has a faster read speed or whatever to make the rolling shutter less noticeable, or maybe even looking into a camera that has a global shutter, so then you just don't have to deal with that problem, as far as I understand. Does that answer that question? If it does, good. And if you have other questions, I have a Skool Community, link in description. Feel free to join the Skool Community and ask the questions there. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.